interest? What are they talented about? What are they passionate about? What's the best way to optimize production and so forth, and for as many people as possible to be successful and for the enterprise to be successful. So this is how we divide labor. I'm going to get back to specialization, but you probably are going to want to watch the video related to that and also read more about it. Now this is interesting, and so I wanted to spend a minute talking about this is really the economy and how it works in a snapshot, and so for the circular flow model. So basically, there's a resource market, if you can see there at the top of the chart, and this is like, hey, household sell, or individuals in household, like my wife and I work, we sell our services, hers as a chaplain, me as a professor and as a business consultant. I sell my services to businesses, and then the businesses or a business is willing to buy what it is we have to sell. And basically, in exchange for what we produce and so forth, we receive either profits if it's a business, interest and so forth, or capital gains if we're making an investment, rent if it's a property that we're in out, or wages and so forth. And then basically, the business receives like, hey, there's, either, they buy like what it is that we have to offer in terms of our labor, or basically land that we have available, or entrepreneurial ability, capital equipment they'd be maybe willing to lease and so forth, or sell to them for a profit. Okay, these are things that the business is going to gain from that. Now, that gives us the wherewithal to buy products. The money income that we generate gives us the wherewithal to buy products and so forth, and basically gives the business an opportunity to basically produce and sell products that they produce. So we sell our resources and we buy products. So in other words, selling our resources is how we produce, buying products is how we consume, okay? And then those consumption expenditures allow businesses and so forth to sell their products, okay? And gives them the wherewithal to do that in the product market, and then households, we buy the products in terms of goods and services that are produced. That generates revenue that allows a business to buy more resources and so forth in the form of plant, property, and equipment, materials and so forth, and labor and so forth, and basically to give them the wherewithal to sell products. So this is kind of the way things flow in an economy and so forth. Resources create goods and services generate outcomes and so forth that allow outputs and so forth for businesses to sell the products that they create, and for individuals and so forth, and households and other businesses to buy their products. So it's a very important thing about it works. It's all about supply and demand, how we consume and how we produce. Businesses have to consume resources and so forth to create products and produce products or services and so forth to survive. And individuals and families have to, basically produce, value in terms of the labor or skill that they provide and so forth. And then that gives them the wherewithal to purchase products and services to maintain their families and to be able to continue to produce. So, okay. There's a video you may want to watch on that. Okay. So, property rights. Okay. One thing about a market economy and so forth that's very fundamental is, I'm going to make this smaller. Okay. Whoops. Okay. Let's go back. Okay. So property rights are an example. Like one reason why our economy works well is we have a very established rule of law about what my rights and responsibilities are for the ownership of information that I have, knowledge that I have. I have rights and responsibilities related to that. If I have land that I own or a product that I've created, I'm able to get a patent on it. And basically those rights are upheld in a market exchange economy. We have private property rights, okay? On the other hand, in a socialist economy, private and public property rights are blurred. The state can choose to seize my personal property. The state can choose to seize my ideas and take them for themselves. I have no rights to be able to benefit off of those in a long term. So property rights are a very important example of an important rule of the game in business and so forth. So in other words, when we have property rights, make sure you know this for the quiz, okay? we're able to, excuse me, we're able to basically encourage the effective use of already existing scarce resources. So basically I have an incentive to create because I can benefit off the rights of my knowledge or the products that I'm able to create or the land that I own, the building that I own, that I place on the land or the equipment that I put to work on it. Okay, it sparks an effort to discover new resources, basically to innovate. So in other words, because of our patent laws and so forth that allow you protection over an idea that you have for a period of 17 years, that encourages innovation and new technologies and so forth that not only create new ideas and improve people's experiences, people's outcomes, and increases longevity of life and the vitality of life, but also has the ability to make things more efficient, where basically we can provide more products to more people and so forth. So we can do things faster, we can do things better, we can produce more of it, and we can do it for less money. Those are drivers that we have in property rights drive that. And of course, it also gives us an incentive to develop new talents and skills and so forth, where like if the talent and skill set that I have now could be become more valuable and so forth if I were to get an additional certification or get a degree or gain new experiences and so forth. That's an example of of something that I own. Like here's the thing, guys. If you have an education and so forth, it's something that can never be taken away from you. That's an example of a right that you have, this kind of intellectual property that you own as a person and so forth. That's very vital in a market economy. Let's see. So it's interesting. This kind of goes back to a little bit about specialization and so forth. Basically, we exchange ideas with people. And so have you ever bartered or traded with someone? Just kind of rhetorical question, where basically they had something that you value and you were willing to give up something that you value and so forth and exchange those things voluntarily. So think about this. If I have a product that's of value to me and I produce it and so forth, I'm willing to exchange that product that I've created in exchange for a certain amount of money. Somebody else and so forth may have another product that they created. This is through specialization, and they're willing to exchange it for money. Well, for example, I'm willing to exchange money to have somebody else work on my car, but somebody else is willing to exchange money and give it to me indirectly if I'm able to help them solve a business problem, or if I'm able to help them, achieve their educational goals. So this all this thing about a free exchange and trade and so forth is fostered through specialization. So in other words, basically, Jack and Jim and so forth. Jack values his glove more than a ball. Maybe he has multiple balls, so the value of his glove is greater than the value of a ball. And then for Jim and so forth, he may have multiple gloves, but not so many balls. A ball is greater than the value of a glove, so they're willing to exchange a glove for a ball and so forth to create a trade situation. So, that's just a very simple example. Okay, now there's three distinct advantages of a market economy. Make sure you know this for the quiz. So efficiency, okay, is one. Resources are guided into their most productive form to maximize self-interest. So we want to use things as efficiently as possible. There's incentive. Basically, people through hard work and through skill development and so forth, through innovation, are able to create better products and services that will improve the standard of living, not just for themselves, but for others. And then freedom, people are able to determine what they wish to do, what they wish to consume, and what they wish to produce. Let me tell you a scary story. My ex-daughter-in-law, God bless her, grew up in the Ukraine, and at that time it was a command economy. And she wanted to be a doctor. Her mother was a doctor. And she was told that based on her testing that she couldn't be a doctor. So she came to the United States. She ended up going to business, got an MBA, and is an auditor for the state. But her and her family relocated to the United States so she could have the freedom in a market economy or in a free society like the United States to pursue what it was she wanted to do with her life. It's a very powerful thing. Here's an example of the power of the market. You may want to watch that by Milton Friedman and so forth, about how cooperation and specialization. This is the story of a pencil. Lovely story. If you don't watch any of the videos, watch this one. It's just a 3 or 4 minute video, but it's powerful. And heavens, I think I was your age or a little younger when it came up. These are problems related to a command economy or a communist type system. Specialization, more information about that. Make sure you know that for the quiz. Another video about that. Last thing I want to hit on real quick, and so forth. There's middlemen in an economy and so forth that possess information. An example of middlemen is like real estate agents. Google is an example of a powerful middleman that acts as a go-between between producers and consumers, basically to help them make better decisions and so forth. Like when you go on the internet and so forth and are able to research a card that you're thinking about buying, that's facilitated through a middleman. So even Consumer Reports acts in that role and so forth, providing information that reduces transaction costs to make the economy more efficient. So transaction costs are basically if I don't have good information, it costs me more time, and I have a higher risk of failure in effectuating a transaction or an exchange with a seller and so forth, and I'm more likely to make a mistake. This is the value that middlemen hold. Stockbrokers are middlemen, wholesalers and so forth. Like they buy from the manufacturer, they sell it and so forth to distributors who sell it to retailers. Job placement agencies and so forth that basically help sell people's skill sets. Realtors, as I mentioned, these are all examples. Okay, and then there's a video on the importance of middlemen. Okay, so I'm going to stop here and so forth to go over information from the quiz, since we're almost out of time. Okay, so guys, here's what I want you to know for the quiz. Okay, hang on just a second. Okay, so remember, know the definition of economics. Know the difference between microeconomics and macroeconomics. List the 3 fundamental economic concepts. Know what specialization is and provide an example. Explain why property rights are important as a rule of the game in an economy. The function of property rights as a rule of the game in an economy. Tell me the distinct advantages of a market economy. So know what the distinctive advantages are. And then finally, the last question will be basically, what role do middlemen play in a market economy? And provide an example of a middleman and tell me about the role they play. So what I'm going to do, you'll have basically 3 multiple choice type or true and false questions. I'll give you a minute apiece for those. You'll have 4 questions that are essays that'll give you 2 minutes apiece to answer. Short essays. They're not like, don't have to write War and Peace. Give me about 2 or 3 sentences and you should be able to answer them all. Does that make sense? Okay. Well, we'll see. I've got 1 minute. Does anybody got a question for me? Let me turn the chat back on. Anybody a question in chat? Okay. All right, beautiful people. Are you good?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay, Caleb, can you turn your mic on, buddy?
Can you hear me?
I unmuted you. Can you turn the mic? Can you tell me? Do you have a question?
Yeah. So do you think right now is a good?
Can you message me on the chat?
Yeah.
I tried unmuting you too.
I can hear him.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, he can hear you.
Send me a message on the chat.
Okay.
Whoever, you got a question?
No, it's
It's weird. I can't hear you either. Let's see. Unmute audio. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me now? Yeah, can you hear me now?
Torby, I can't hear you.
I can hear you.
You know where the chat button is? When
Yeah.
you hit the chat and send me an email, or send me an email after the question. Send me an email if you still got questions, okay? Okay, you know my email address, john.noons at ketteringhealth.com. Okay, God bless you. It's great seeing all of you. Have a beautiful day, and I'll talk to you soon. I think it is 11:45. Okay, have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.